How'd it go?
Yeah, how'd it go?
I think that you have people that are there to serve the country. I was surprised at their desire to be candid about information. I think that the goal is to demystify because what we don't want to see happen is programs that are secure, that are designing, that have nothing to do with extraterrestrials or anything like that. You don't want the activity in those programs. They don't want them to be exposed, and so they want, because of that, they want, if there is any information, they want to get it out. And again, my worldview has been very skeptical that this is extraterrestrial, and that remains. There's nothing that I learned today that, in fact, probably more validated today by my worldview is probably more validated.
Your skepticism.
Yeah, my skepticism is probably more validated. I went into the hearing wanting to confirm, to the extent of which they investigated, how far do they go? Do they? And I feel we got some good answers.
Okay. Any next steps that you think will be taken after this?
We'll see. I think that they're going to continue to produce a report from activity. So they produced a historical report, and then they're going to produce more things going forward, and I'll stay in communication with them.
Okay. Cool. Great. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Has it been frustrating that they haven't had that historical report yet? Because that was mandated.
No, they used to.
Oh yeah, up to your standard.
We once I had this meeting,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Because they said we researched this and this was the conclusion. I wanted to know, what did you do to research that?
Yeah.
And because you just telling us that we looked into it and that program doesn't exist.
Yeah.
How far did you go?
Yeah.
Right? For example, things like that.
So does it feel now like they've talked to some of the people who Brush had talked to, and maybe he hadn't heard through the game of telephone? Yeah. Do you still have more questions for Grush, or?
Are we going up one more?
Yeah.
I get lost.
Yeah.
I do, and I'll reach back out to Grush and talk to him. And one of the things I was brought up in the meeting is that, look, David, some of the accusations that David made publicly are about the over-compartmentalization,
Yeah.
the fact that they're pulling information from Congress, and all of that was verified by the Office of Inspector General.
Yeah.
And yet, so I feel that I think they adequately to me addressed how that can be true, while at the same time it's true that he misread some activities, and some of the programs that they enumerated to us and what they actually did. I was able to see why, if you didn't dig into the program, you would assume that it is researching.
Did you have time to look at that Kona Blue declassified report?
Not yet.
Probably not. Yeah.
It just came out, didn't it?
Yeah. I just read it last night or breathed over it. So from that declassification, is that a good signal to you that they're?
Yes. That they're. Look, they absolutely want to be transparent. And one of the things I think I can say is that really the only thing that's classified is things that our military or U.S. government uses that might have collected any information.
Yeah.
And that's why what ends up becoming classified. But they said that if there's somebody that has footage of it on an iPhone of a UFO or outside of the military has evidence of something, that is not classified at all. So if they do find extraterrestrial beings or craft, it is not classified. It would be released.
Well, so it's interesting because over on the Senate side, Senator Kaine brought up the incursions over Langley. Senator Kelly just brought him up to the Joint Chiefs of Staff in a hearing about the incursions over Luke Air Force Base in Arizona. Gillibrand was just complaining about it after a classified trip out to Nevada about a persistent incursion above sensitive U.S. sites. So does this mean this is our foreign adversaries in U.S. airspace?
I don't know if I can say.
Yeah. But I mean, it's almost more terrifying for the public if this is our foreign adversaries.
Well, we saw the Chinese pilot, right?
Yeah.
I think it's safe to say that China, that's not the first thing that they ever did. They have been doing, they are pervasive in their espionage in the United States.
Yeah.
And they're very creative in how clearly creative in how they get information.
So what have you made of Kirkpatrick? His complaints that this is like a cabal inside, that certain people are both in the government and then in Congress.
Yeah, I think that they've made that kind of public, that there's a groupthink happening where you have people that are basically repeating what they've heard.
Yeah.
But there's no original source of information.
Yeah. Are you guys going to be able to get to those original sources? Would you like to, even if it's to you all in a classified setting? Because they probably couldn't talk publicly.
Yeah, but I feel like we got quite a bit of information this week.
Yeah. It's interesting because Burchett and Luna left frustrated. Burchett and Luna left frustrated with Ogle. I know.
Of course. I think that they I'm kind of because look, my worldview, as I said, is that it's likely not.
Yeah.
And so it's not frustrating to me. I found out, I was told otherwise.
Yeah.
I can imagine if your worldview is that if you decided that it is what exists are extraterrestrial, then you're going to be frustrated.
Do you feel like they're asking the right questions? Like, Timothy Phillips was in there?
Uh-huh.
Did you trust him? Like, is he asking the right questions?
Yes, I think so. I think that's what I really wanted to lean in and press on, is to make sure that their process was thorough.
Yeah.
I feel like it is. They basically research every report until they come to a conclusion.
Yeah.
Which is good.
What would you like to see? Last question. Next steps. Public hearings still needed, or?
We might need to have I think that getting them to present, it might be frustrating. I think that the UFO community is not going to be happy with what they say, but if it's the truth, then they need to talk about it, and they need to dispel misinformation.
Because the AARO, they never testified publicly. Right.
I thought it was in the Senate, wasn't it? Didn't they testify in the Senate?
Over here. The Senate doesn't count. Stop. Have a good one, sir. Appreciate you.